Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? Wild 2025 volatility to continue, both up and down. Largest flash crash in history for Q4, question mark. Hope everybody's doing all right. 2025 has been an absolute bitch so far. Where it's going next is the $64,000 million question. And there's a lot to talk about. I hope you guys are doing good. Hope your family's all right. Glad Tony didn't burn up in the fire. uh, and there's just so much to talk about, guys. We're going to get into it. We're going to do our best to recap, and we're going to talk about what we see right now and where we're going for the rest of the year. So much that we're going to get right into it. Here is where we made our last video right at the bottom, talking about how you want to see a pretty violent rally going into at least mid-July into mid-August. Probably somewhere in there you'd get a VIX-ageddon. Exactly what we got, possibly out into September, but we got it right there. So it was pretty clean. We called it, we tweeted it right at the top. And there was a lot that went on here. We're going to go through it. So here, there's something very specific that happened on May 31st, that it coiled down really hard. We even tweeted about it. We put a picture up. It coiled down really hard, like super fucking hard. And that most likely printed the low for a future wave here. But I don't think that this is done. I think that there's still a possibility of this being another part of the wave. We have alarms that didn't get hit from this drop that will possibly hit this year as well. This was the NVIDIA earnings, and this is where NVIDIA exploded up and the market got fucking destroyed. The VIX was at 12, 13, and it was like the VIX was at 20, and the market got destroyed. I think that has something to do with the market peaking out in terms of momentum, and we'll talk about more of that. And I think NVIDIA will eventually reverse that somewhere in the future this year. This was the Great North American eclipse right there. So you see this big gigantic uptrend. Whee! Right, so we had the eclipse here we'll talk about. Then we had a huge uptrend, and then the North American eclipse happened right there. And then boom, we get the first correction, and it started causing all this shit fest. Right, so you have this huge move, hits, and then you start getting the rollover. Let's see. This was not really a down move. This is when the Fed said they're going to start cutting. The reason why the VIX went to 66 and reversed below 17, they said in the fastest timing ever in history, was because it's, in my opinion, after seeing all this, it was actually a positive move. It's coiling up and pushing down really violently to go higher. The Fed said they're going to start cutting here. And this was the first time since like 2022, 23 that they started doing this, hiking and pausing. And it pushes down to get the momentum to catch it to go higher. And now it kind of makes a bit more sense because of what it did here. Now it crashed into the top of that. Right? That makes more sense now. But there's a lot of different specific things that people need to see to realize this was not a clean bottom. It was a clean bottom. We called it on Twitter right there. If it rips out, it didn't rip out. It fizzled out. It just rolled over. See, it's peak momentum here. Peak momentum, sideways and down, sideways and down. It didn't rip out. It didn't go up. And that's how it traded this entire time. It was like a broken wrist. It just had no impulse whatsoever. Also here, I tweeted, I don't know what the fuck is going on in the market, but I don't like it, and I'm scared to death. This was the market breadth peaking. Right there was the October 22nd gap down, and that day right there, the market literally rolled over. It was like 8 15-minute candles in a row, just straight down, 1.5%. It just went down and just kept going and going. I was like, what the fuck just happened? And it's because it was rolling over. It actually cracked, and it wanted to roll over, and then the election saved it, Trump winning. But all it did was postpone it, and then you can see, so it's trying to go lower, and then you explode higher, and now when it finally cracks, it goes down even harder, right? You got a huge drop. It was like a 70% closing basis VIX print, which is the second print in history to do that, right? So you just postponed it, and it needed to crack, and then chop, 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 and then that. So basically that drop there is like the butterfly effect of producing that. Yeah, but it's very complicated because I don't even know if this is actually the bottom of this move. And we'll talk all about this. That's what makes this so difficult. Here, it was easier to predict at the start of it because at the start of VIX moves and the end, which is the top of the market, it's much easier to predict. In the fuck zone, in the middle zone here, it is so difficult. It's so difficult to predict right now on exactly where we're going. So we're just going to take it. So this move here, and the S&P, let's see. We're going to talk about the eclipse that happened. This is a bit messier, but the eclipse that happened here, October 2023. The 9, we tweeted this, the 9 crosses the 200, and that's literally the bottom, and then it rips out. It goes below it, comes up, you got a U, and then this was the Fed day. That was the Fed day, and then it explodes out. Okay? See this? Down, up, U, boom. Right? And this was over the weekend, 10/27 to 10/30. Okay? A blood lunar eclipse happened over that weekend. Right there. And then look at that. Boom. Right? Guess what happened over the weekend, guys? A blood lunar moon eclipse. Okay, same shit. The 9 crosses. This is the first time the 9 crosses the 200. This is the first time the 9 crosses the 200 since then. The pink line. See, just crosses it again. So you go down, up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same exact pattern. And the Fed is in 2 days. Tomorrow we have Trump meeting Putin, and you'd want to see it rip through here, get to the 200, or not. I honestly don't care what it does the next day. It could even retest the 9 from above, hold, and then sets up for the Fed. And that's that. It did the exact same thing. And this felt very, very final. This felt like it bottomed on the jobs report, so it stabilizes on the 200, and then you just get this overshoot bloodbath. So once you break the 200 in the daily, quants and algorithmic trading really fuck the market, and they just start selling like crazy. That's why we started getting a lot more volatility and shakeups. And we had constant good news. We had the CPI, we had the PPI, everything was just good, and it kept spiking, and we couldn't move up. It refused to go up all fucking week. And it just kept rolling over. It keeps doing this. I don't know how to explain it, but it keeps doing this. It keeps rolling like that. Can you understand that? It keeps rolling like that. That is from the eclipse. So the breath breaks right here. You have the uptrend. Clean that up. You have the uptrend. And then you pop, you break, and then you pop from the election, and it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. It had no oomph to it whatsoever. So like that's how I see it, and that's how it's traded until literally the eclipse. And this is why I was acting like such a fucking bitch the other day, because we have not had a positive move literally since forever, since fucking July. We have not had a positive true breath move, except that one move in December 11th. Which was literally the top. But yeah, so this is why it was insane that it had to reverse it, and it did. And I'll show you the DMIs and everything else that shows it. And the exact same thing happened here as it did October of 2023. There was a glitch trade lower that filled the gap. Didn't actually trade, well, it kind of traded there. There. It's a glitch trade. Whee! So also, when you gap down, when you close like this and you get a glitch trade that goes up like that, usually it means that, quote unquote, it shouldn't have gone down that far. Especially if it goes right up like that. It shouldn't have gone down that far, which means that this was a bear trap. So it's very clean. It's a very clean bottom to say and to show that this was a bear trap, pretty big one, or 2%, or you can do from there, that it increases the probability that was the bottom. Then you have the glitch trade. Didn't disappear. There was a glitch trade only on the weekly. I actually didn't watch the market all year. I was bedridden for like many months. And the first day I come back was literally the day of the weekly glitch trade. This glitched down. The wick went down to there. And then it was like the day after or the week after, I forget, it disappeared. So it fills the gap. And usually when you have an overextension like this, the way it bottomed, and then you get a gap up glitch trade, that's extremely bullish. And then there you go, right? I don't think this happens again. I don't think that happens again. I think what would happen is there'd be a stabilization where we go to all-time highs, and then we get fucked. And there's a whole, this is the big problem of everything in between. So the same exact setup with the eclipse and everything, and then we got massive VIX algo triggers all at the same time at the end of day on Friday in the last hour. So I've seen this multiple times in my life where eclipses and algo triggers get triggered the exact same fucking day and reverse the market. I've never not seen it work. Is that making it impossible? No. Because I'm very fucking nervous still. Like, I'm pretty confident that this was a bottom, at least a short term, into the end of March. April fucks everything up because eclipses happen every 6 months, 2 weeks apart. So we have an eclipse coming at the end of March over the weekend. So March closes, and then April, whatever, 1st or whatever, 2nd on Monday starts the next round. And I don't think that it's going to crush the market outright, but I think it's going to start working against this eclipse. And this is how it works. And now you got to try to figure out which one's going to win and which one is the first move and which one is going to happen second. So this is where it gets all fucked up. So it's very common. You get the glitch trade and it holds. I think we're going to rip out. So this is what I think is going to happen, and also what I want to happen. I think we're going to have a rally into the end of March. I think we're going to have volatility in the first half of April, and I think we're going to rip out in the second half into early May. So I think we'll do something like this. We'll touch the weekly middle Bollinger is a very common. This looks very clean to retest this from below and fail, and you get a, I don't know how far down we would go. Maybe even retest the 200-day or even the 50 weekly. I have no idea. But you'd want to see some sort of corrective phase where people get shit scared again. And then earnings season into the Fed, I think we get to all-time highs. Something like that. And I don't know how high we go. But if we do this, okay, I'll show you why. If we do this into May, 620 to 650. I have no fucking clue where it goes. Price to me doesn't matter. It's about hitting all-time highs and impulsing one time above all times. You go, and then you have a boom boom, and everyone's like, oh shit. That's it. That's all I want. That's all I need. And then I'm looking every second of every day. I'm looking for the click for the market to get wrecked. And we'll look at all targets. I think the market's going to drop at least 20% going into May or June. So yeah, it would have to go to 630 to go down to 500 to get 20%. So like, I really want to see it go up even higher. And we'll go through everything why, okay? So there was a glitch there at 1:44 p.m. Okay. The important thing here is a glitch trade here. It was right here, a glitch trade, the 543.07 up to here. It went down, it coiled down, and it glitched up to 543. And the next day, we gapped up and we ripped. And then you do a God line there. 543.05, whatever. And you see how it behaves around it. Based on it, it tried crashing through it, bounced off of it, and blew through it. And then you can see how it behaves around it. Gap, crashes into it, right? So that's a God line. Also, this is an untouched God line from the crash here. This is where it based on momentum to spike higher, that a very specific spot. So that's another God line. I don't want to see 400s on the S&P with this crash. That should not happen. So the problem is trying to figure out if it's the big crash or if it's just an intermediate crash before the big rally. So this is how it goes. We hit the 50 weekly, that's clean. If you go on the closing print here, below it, above it, ripped. Closing print, below it, above it, ripped. Question mark, right? We don't know yet. The thing about it is I see a lot of high beta stocks, meme stocks, ARK stocks that are set to fucking rip. Problem is I don't know the path. I don't know if it's one big move, if it's a move into March, it pulls back into April, it explodes into the end of April, chop, 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 big blow off May. Like, I can't tell. It's very toxic right now. We're going to be now looking at, so this is SPY. We had VIX algo triggers right here saying we're going to have volatility based on tariffs. And this is important. The Qs broke their trend line from 2023. And then the green line is the trend line from 2009. Trust. Hashtag trust. That's the trend line. It's bounced off that religiously. So if you go from top to bottom, that's about a 20-something% correction if we crash into the middle end of May or into the first half of June. So I don't know how high we go. Again, I don't know how this goes. We broke the uptrend. It's very possible we retest it like this. We break all-time highs and it's a double top somewhere in May. And then we drop 22% from there. And this would be retesting the bottom there and stuff like that. So here in the Qs, something very specific happened. You can see when it dropped here in January 27th, there was a massive glitch trade. It hit the trend line and massive glitch trade that went up to here. It's very common when that happens. It means that it's running into it and it wants to break it, but physically can't. And usually, whatever the glitch trade's up, you go up to break it. And when you break it, you fail. And so it kind of fucked with it. It was just like this uptrend. Usually when you just break it, you fail. It touched it and got fucking dunked. Look at that. Touches it, dunked. Right? But it just did this triangle thing. And this is where the CPI came out higher on inflation, squoze it out, and then breaks it. That's not a clean break. That's not what you would see if this was actually breaking this downtrend. It breaks it, but it's doing it in a way where it's going to horizontal support, which now it did. Now it filled a gap. Now it's going to the top of the flash crash. And there's the bear trap. Yeah, so it did it in a way that it's breaking this, but it's not bearish. That's the way I see it. But this, you would want to see get hit. If this year is supposed to be as insane as it's supposed to be, and the volatility and the big fucking rally and the big fucking crash, like, you want to see something like this. And then you get a COVID level what the fuck rally through all-time highs. Because the crash, I'm telling you, is going to happen so fucking fast and so hard. It is something that no person, no living person in the entire world has fucking seen. Not I, not anyone, okay? This is a 100-year trend. Hit in dot-com bubble. We hit in 2022, and we're fucking with it now. And what I think happens, and this is why I was so scared here, was because it rolled over below it, explodes up, and now you have this gigantic coil above the 100-year trend, and it violently just broke it. I'm still kind of scared about it. It violently broke it. And this is where the VIX actually broke out with per the algos. So it's breaking out. So now the market is actually volatile. And then these volume trips, for whatever reason, are interesting turning points in the market. It's interesting. But so yeah, now it broke it. Now it's got to get back above it. These are two lines. One goes to the tippy wick and one goes into, like, it sinks in a little bit. So it's been fucking with this for a while. So it hits the green, misses the yellow. And then we fuck with the green, and now we fuck with... You touch the yellow here to the tip, and that's what caused the... What the fuck? Literally to the speck of it. So... The drop is going to be unbelievable. And so now the more this plays out, now that this held, okay, what I want to see is the medium drop. And what ends up happening is, I think... This is the first time getting hit. It goes through it. Then you get the actual activation of the crash. Boom. And then the Fed starts cutting in June. It's less about inflation and more about the jobs picture, as per other people saying specific things. And I believe that's what's going to happen. Then the Fed starts cutting, and so you have this massive, it's trying to break down, it's trying to break down, it's trying to break down. It constantly keeps rolling over and coiling out, and then the Fed stops it. For whatever reason, the Fed cuts, the market cannot go down. It's just the Fed put. It's literally as simple as that. The computer algos will not go down. They will not go down. It's fucking impossible. And so I think he cuts every visit from June into October. And it's possible if inflation comes down, this is my assumption, inflation comes down low enough, the Fed says that we've slayed inflation. We beat inflation. We did it. Mission accomplished. George Bush on the aircraft carrier. And I think that would be the top. You do this. You do something like this. 18%, whatever, give or take. We rally. We have a reverse COVID rally above 7,000 or 700. This is going to be more or less a straight line. There'll be volatility in it. But it'll be more or less a straight line. And then this is what I see. And so you're going to have a parabolic move. It gets fully rejected, and then you get a parabolic move that shouldn't happen, but does, just because of the momentum and the wave. You will get a move somewhere between like 270, somewhere around 270 to 330 by January. So a 60% drop. Something like that. Something like that. And that is only predicated on the fact that we can rally and hold through all-time highs into May. And then there's a super violent August-like drop, like super violent VIX move that drops like this. If we don't hold in the next few weeks, in the next month or so, and we sell off, I don't know the wave. I don't know the wave. The wave can get extended. This pattern won't happen. I don't know what it would be. This is a very clean wave setup as per what's going on right now. SPX, we had the Russell. This looks really clean. We broke all-time highs and we failed. We have to retest support. There's a God line here at 2152 on the Russell futures. It crashed into like a shit ton of support. There's also a massive God line, 1988.6. This was when the futures on the Russell in January crash here stopped trading for 20 minutes. All of the futures on the SPY, on the NASDAQ, and the Russell, I think on the Dow as well, stopped trading. Just stopped trading. They nothing happened. And then they reappeared magically. And that, to me, it was a very big algo trigger. We talked about it a million times. And so we tapped that almost to the fucking penny. Like, look at that, was the bottom. That was the bottom. Right? Oh, look at that. Imagine that. Something that happened in January of 22 just caused movement in 3 years later. Right? But something, it's not like support, resistance. It's a random fucking event of something not trading for 20 minutes. Why would that do that, right? And this is just how the market fucking does their thing. Crash into the 200 and 100 weekly. This is nice, clean. 7-week drop, nice and clean. This is, I think, the biggest losing streak in the Russell ever, right? So you're in mass pessimism. You had extreme fear at the top of the, it was at extreme fear at the top of the market. At the top of the market, we were in extreme fear. It was like 24 out of 100. And then we went down to like 14 or so towards the bottom, which is insane. You barely went down, but it didn't make sense. And so you wouldn't expect to see the big crash when that happens. So you're looking for mass euphoria. And to get mass euphoria, you need a massive fucking move. You need a massive fucking move. The only way to do that is to have a big VIX event to allow the market to have this reverse COVID-like rally. You need to have something like that. And the only way you get something like this is if you have a violent correction. This was not it. This was not it. I'm very confused on how we're going to have increased volatility from now until the end of Q2 and just fuck around. Just bounce around and do stuff like that. I can't see it. Now, another thing, there was 190. And so these are very important. And I just noticed that recently. 190.69, 4 a.m., August 20th. right there. August 20th, right there. So rally, crash, come back up, and then just some random fucking print. And it was so big, I had to mark it because things like this matter. And now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. So you have this relentless uptrend, right? Huge bull trend. This was extremely bearish, but it had a bullish bias. And this is why we did those YOLOs in the Russell. We made like almost 100,000 on this move in literally one day. Because of the setup. So it broke out and instantly fails with the crash, and then it gets this glitch trade. It's just this huge uptrend, but then it had no follow through. You literally broke out. Where is the oomph? Where is the breadth? It had no follow through. Every single move is a rollover, a rollover. The fucking Fed starts cutting. The small caps are supposed to do amazing. They're supposed to do amazing. Rollover, rollover, rolls over. You get the explosion, rolls over, rolls over, rolls over, blah, 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 blah. And just there's no oomph, there's no consistency at all whatsoever. There's no consistency, there's no violency to it. It's just complete rollover because of this fucking glitch trade. It prices in down momentum, and so this knows it needs to get here, or usually close to it. Sometimes you have to go get exact to it because there was the God line that it touched, right? We just showed you. It can get relatively close to it, but that's still there. So this is still there, and the Q's is still there. Did I show you the Q one? No, I didn't. 8:23, 428 glitch trade at 4 a.m. So right there at the top. Right there at the top, right in the morning, 4 a.m. again. And I don't think I saw it on the SPY or anything else. Again, 428 glitch trade. So that's a possibility, which if you line it up, 428, where's 428? Let's say we rally in May. We retest this in May. 428, let's crash into June. Where's 428? Oh, look at that. 428 is exactly where the 15-year trend line is. Literally exactly. Clean. That's fucking clean. And then you bounce off it one last time. And if you're bouncing off of a 15-year trend line and it's the final rally, you rip off of it. You're talking mega caps on steroids. I think the mega caps are topping for years. I think the mega caps are going to go through a multi-year bear market. And you're going to get a massive rotation into everything, into small caps, into biotech, into emerging markets, into everything. Okay, this is how it's going to play. This is how it's going to be played out. I just don't know if we do some bullshit like this or if we do this, because you see the high beta setups going into March, April, and it won't work if this happens. If we fuck around and we just chop and chop and we start selling off. And also, it doesn't make sense because we'll talk about other things. We'll look at the VIX and stuff like that as to why I think it has to go up and like retest to break down, because the VIX, if the market breaks down, you're breaking a 5-year downtrend in the VIX trend, and you're going to get a massive crack. And we wouldn't get the massive crack and then just drop like 4% and pop up. Like, you're going to get a fucking what the fuck move. You're going to get this on steroids. And I don't know what's going to cause it. I think it's possible that we're priming Israel to attack Iran. Right now we're attacking Yemen for no fucking reason. Insane. Let Israel deal with that shit. Like, why the fuck, right? So I think we're prepping for that, and we keep saying it. And Netanyahu, Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. We went and invaded. They never had it, right? Now he said like 6+ months ago, they're months away from attaining a nuclear weapon. Oh well, sucks for you, bro. Do something about it then. Stop fucking calling for your daddy America to save your ass. Right? So I think we're going to give them all the weapons and intel and everything to go bomb them. And I think that we're going to Israel's going to attack Iran. And I think oil is going to absolutely fucking shred this year. I think that might be the event. If we can pull it off into April and May, I think a geopolitical event where oil spikes to the heavens, 80, 90, 100, and a war is threatening the world or whatever in the Middle East, and now oil is going to spike because the Middle East and war. Yeah. Because stocks like Devon and Oxy, if we're topping wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, right? This is wave 4 of 3, 5 of 3. Major wave 4 breaks that. We fill a gap. And this looks like we're bottoming, which means that this would have to break that before the top. This needs to go up 130% before we top. This would have to go up 130% before we top, before October, November. What the fuck is going to get this to go up 130%? Exactly. So this is another piece of the puzzle that I want to see happen. Pull the gap. Curling up. Crushed earnings with oil at 65. Imagine oil going to like 90, right? And then you have the same. Devon moves with Oxy. They have basically the same pattern. Buffett literally doubled down on it. Doubled down on Oxy. Devon moves more than Oxy. So, I mean, whatever floats your boat. The 50 crossing the 100. So, just a hint of hint. When you have a death cross or a golden cross, if a stock drops a fuck ton already before the death cross, the 50 crossing the 200, it's contrarian. Highly probable. High probability, 80, 95%. Probably even more. When you drop 37% going into the death cross, it's very likely. See? Whee! Psh! Finally, explosion, super volume, crosses. Oh, look at that. Absolute peak momentum straight down. Oh, shocker. And so now this is about to cross, and now we're bombing the Houthis, right? So like all this shit's coming in together. So are we going to start bombing and this is going to moon and it's going to happen before we rally into March, April, May, or not? Right? Don't know. And this is all the pieces of the puzzle and all the chippity chop chop that we see and everything. Okay, so I think I beat SPY and Qs to death. I think I said most stuff. I mean, there's so much to talk about with all this shit. There's just so much. Let's check that out so much. Okay, anyway. Oh, do you have the tick on the election day, which was, where are you? Right there. That's November 6th, 408, right there on the open. 408. It opens 408. That means that the move on the S&P was dog shit. It was like the market gapped up 0.1%. It didn't actually show an actual impulse to the upside. You want to see an impulse? November 19th, 1738. 1738. That is the biggest dick you'd ever see. It's like watching a porno and you see like the biggest dick makes you feel small. Just like the biggest of green dicks. 1730. The only one that went higher than that, November 14th, 2023, was 1763. That was the bottom. That was literally the bottom of the rippage. So you have here, November 14th, right there. So you have the bottom, boom. So you have a massive impulse because it's pricing in that. You understand? It's pricing in this big fucking move. So you got to punch. You got to punch that bitch. Not a woman, that bitch. Could be a guy. You got to punch that bitch. And then you get September 18th, which was the September 19th, the day of the eclipse. This was when they cut rates, 50 basis points. And the next day, boom, punch that bitch. 1700. Oh, look at that. So you're breaking out, boom, and now you're retesting it and you're crashing down into it. And this was 408. So this big motherfucking 2% gap up on this big euphoric, oh my God, Trump won, was literally a nothing. And that makes sense because it's rolling over. It doesn't have that positive momentum. So you crush out. So the importance of this is this, okay? The importance of this is this. We did the Qs, we did the Russell. We'll just look at this real quick. Dow Jones Transports. Okay, this is an uptrend. Again, it's rolling over. This is why it's so fucking scary for me when you see trends like this and things are rolling over. You know, fall off a cliff type shit. DMIs are crossing. This is rolling over, right? So you go up like that. We rally into May and then we crash, whatever, May, June, or whatever. And then you get that. And then you can rally through all-time highs. Wherever the fuck it goes, right? Something like that. You keep your eye on that because everyone likes to look at this stuff. Weekly getting crashed into the weekly zero line. That's usually bullish. But not when you break an uptrend like that or short-term uptrend. That looks like a clean break, so you might get like a retest and then you get the failure. Yeah, that looks clean to me. Stuff like that. Okay. Okay, let's talk about, go through the Nikkei real quick. This is Godline. This is from COVID. Whoop. Right? Bounce, 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 bounce. Flash crash. This is very weird. I don't think it was like, it's hard to explain, but it's how the market's moving, it's how the VIX is moving, it's how the S&P is moving. This bear market in 2022 is like the same here. This is a U, and this is an upside down U. This is how it's moving. It's freakish. It's all because of this up push down real hard, and it's coiling out type of move. So this isn't necessarily bearish. I actually think it was a bullish move. Again, the flash crash in August. This is coming into the weekly zero line on the weekly for the first time since the breakout in March, which was the banking crisis. You have the ADX getting crushed out on the weekly, which is very inflective. I actually mentioned this to my brother. So you go on the SPY on the daily, look at the ADX getting crushed out like this and coiling. Massive move is about to happen, either up or down. If we broke to the upside, you'd have a violent drop. If you broke to the downside, it's going to be ugly. And that's what we got. Look at the ugly 10% correction, and then it held. Okay, Nikkei, it's holding. Blah, blah, blah. This is the line here, and we're coming up on it, going into the Fed meeting. And it just looks clean. Oh, it's just bouncing up the middle monthly Bollingers, no problem. We got the first DMI cross. That's clean. It's just one sine wave. Yeah, if it holds. If it holds. Next, VIX. Oh my God, there's so much to talk about. Let's go through the VVIX real quick. So it's the rate of change of the VIX. So if the VIX just kind of goes up but doesn't change a lot, it doesn't move it a lot. So for example, COVID, well, let's say the August crash, we went from 90 to 195, and that's pretty much the length of the entire chart, right? That was the August move. This was COVID. So what ended up happening was, this is very specific and very structurally beyond frightening. There was a glitch trade. It broke the 2014 low. When you have moves that do that in a move, so you see the middle monthly Bollinger? See how it goes up, 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 pops up, and then it comes all the way down, and it's retesting this, and it's retesting that level where it started from. Now it has positive momentum. This just clicked. This just clicks. Okay? See this gigantic woo, and it comes up to the zero line, right? Let's see here. Goes down to the zero line, clicks on it, and fails. Explodes up into the zero line and fails. That would be very nice. So if it fails into March, fails into April, and then clicks in May, and then April is a problem. Again, we go up into the eclipse in 2 weeks. Some high beta shit pops off for the next 2 weeks or so, and we'll go through that. And then either April we chop the first 2 weeks and we hold and we rip into May, or it just becomes a bloodbath. We sell off, and then I don't know what the future wave is. I don't see it. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck it's doing then. I really don't. And that sucks because like the big crash is imminent. And so it's, you don't want to go heavy into shorting for the big crash and then it's almost nothing or it doesn't happen, right? I like when it's like very well set up, like last August, like it's very well set up, do it and it's clean and you walk away with your profit. Weekly, so this was so the VIX barely moves from 29 to like 24, and this got crushed. This is like the VIX is at 15 right now because the rate of change of the VVIX got popped. Right? This is what I was scared about. There was a glitch trade on the day after the election up to 161.76. That's going to get hit. It's very common. So you see how glitch trade up there, and then when you went right up to it, literally to the penny on the April correction, dropped, then you get another glitch trade. Drop, 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 and then it went through it. But again, this was like a weird move that never really should have overextended that much. Goes up to it, but it did. So it blew through it, and sometimes it does that. But if you look at the average type of pop, it was right around there. So the VIX started fucking around with that the whole time. So it was basically, this was the blow off and this was the average of it, right? So there you go. Same exact thing. Now you get a glitch trade. Can you blow through it? Yup. Could you go a little bit below it? Yup. But that's the general area that you're looking for. Now, it broke that and failed. So that's an inflection right on the eclipse, no less. And oddly enough, an algo trigger in the VIX happened literally at the end of the day today, which got me a little nervous because so that's VVIX, and we'll show. Do you see that candle? Look how fucking doji-esque that candle is. Look how big that doji is. The quarterly right here. That's so fucking frightening. That is so frightening. I'm scared to death of it. Holy fuck. So, okay, Big Daddy VIX. Oh my god. Look at the VIX. Look at the VIX. It's not going to be a straight line. It's going to be a choppity chop chop, but eventually, oh my god. I have so many, like, things here. Did I make a video on this? No, I didn't. So, glitch trade, July of 2024. It goes above the zero line, boom, and then glitches lower. Looks like, I don't know what the fuck, if it's an activation or something. I knew it was an activation, but I didn't know if it would ever come back to it or something like that. And then boom, boom, boom. And guess what that day was? Remember when the airlines, there was a big cyber glitch? Oh, the big cyber glitch? Yeah, the glitch trade happened literally at the exact fucking hour as the glitch. Imagine that. Weird, huh? Weird. Almost like all the glitches we've ever seen for years and years and years and years and years. Almost like the big glitch that happened down. Can we even see it? No, we got to go on the daily. The glitch that happened on January of 2024 when the market broke the downtrend of 2022 bear market. And there was like fucking 50 stocks that had these weird glitch. There was an opening problem, and this glitched down to 5.85, and it glitched up to 8.7. Weird. And look at that. It was the bottom of Palantir. Crazy. And we go through a million different stocks. So like you see these glitches all the fucking time. All the time, all the time, all the time. That looks pretty clean on Palantir going on to that. Right? So that was that glitch. And then you had the glitch of the VVIX, which is structurally scary as fuck, because now you're going into all these VIX triggers telling you there's going to be increased volatility, and you have a massive structural VVIX print that when this happens, when this goes and clicks, VVIX is breaking its all-time high. When you glitch down like that, you break your low, you are in a collision path with all-time highs. For the VVIX to break 213, the VIX is going over 80, period. And if it goes even higher, right, which is what I expect, I think the bottom of the market, we're going to have at least a 20% drop in one day. I think we're going to have 1987 2.0 on the big crash. It's going to be so bad. It's going to be, I can't even imagine. It dwarfs COVID. It's like COVID is its child. Like, it's unfathomable. I can't even imagine how bad this is going to be. I really can't. It's so bad. It's so bad. I can't. I literally can't. It just gives me nightmares just thinking about it. So anyway, oh my god. So that was that. So the structural move, though, it's going to go up a lot. VIX. We had triggers December 23rd. It gets confusing. It's a shoulder, head, shoulder, so it's like one sine wave off of this pop, and now it peaked out right on the eclipse, and now we're fucking with this right on the daily middle Bollinger. You probably want to see a retest of that tomorrow, a hard MACD cross, a retest of that fails, hopefully, on the Trump thing. You got a gap down on the VIX this far on new VIX future contracts. I don't know why this happens. We go through this. I don't know why this happens, the reason for it, but when you get new VIX contracts or even any kind of contract, SPY contract, anything, Bitcoin, it always can produce a specific move in a direction. So you get this wicked upside down U. See how coiled that is with massive spiking in between. Boom, 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 boom. And then this just takes off. Right? So this is a massive coil into this. For COVID, you can see the same thing. Coils down, coil. This is what I want to see at the top of the market. Just crushed, 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 and then whoop, takes off. It's like it gets crushed so much and so hard and so frequent that eventually you just can't go lower, depending on like how the wave is set up. But this is how it is. So it's doing the same shit over and over and over again. And it just so happens you do it enough, you eventually do it in positive land. If you do the same wave structure, but you do it in positive land, whoop, you get sent. And it just so happens the wave is set up so that you do the same wave, and then right here is where it would end up going down again, but it doesn't, it reverses. And then that's where you get the big 30 to 80 VIX spike. Like, this is the type of shit I want to see. And then so you end up getting stuff like this, where you get these ridiculous coils. And this is just like one sign of it. You get the big spike here, and then it went straight down, and then you get the coil out, and it goes straight up. Yeah, so that's one thing. Another thing, SPY futures. Look at that. This was the top. It gaps up. Boom. And this was the big VIX spike that we got. What do we just get? The new SPY futures. I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. I saw it. I was like, the way it was trading, the way this was like a gigantic, this was like a doji, like a flat move with a gigantic fuck you in the middle. So like it stabilizes to the downside. And then this right there was the 16th off the Fed, straight up. And then this looks like it gapped up that day. I was like, why the fuck did this gapped up? So the way it gapped up. And then straight down. I was like, I bet we're going to go straight down right into March 16th. Like, fuck you, man. Like, it's so toxic. And so what's this next 3 months going to be? Exactly. What's the next 3 months going to be? And that's the point. You're coming onto a MACD cross. Getting rejected here is unbelievably bearish. And that goes into the Fed meeting. It would be the lowest print on the daily MACD since the bottom of the bear market. A hard rejection there, and you're looking at 4% plus to the downside. Oh, which I don't think happens. I want to show you this. Look at the eclipse. Okay, we'll look at the 4 hour. Look at this. Look at this off the top. The same fractal as COVID. February 20th. Okay, straight down. Look at the DMI, straight down. Even the pop, the dead cat bounce from the Zelensky Trump catastrophe, straight down. Didn't even cross it. Straight down. Freakish kind of wave. And then and look at this. It, just coiling and coiling and coiling. Could not do it from that October eclipse. Guess where the eclipse is? Guess where the eclipse is? Right there. Look at that. Look at that. Can't break this in a straight linear path. And this is why I was also scared, because the bottom of the VIX, the top of the VIX, the bottom of the market for the COVID fractal was March 18th. And so we were right at a level where the VIX would be breaking out, and the VIX could go from 30 to 75 in literally 2 to 3 days. If that cracked right there. This is why I was being such a bitch. Because if it cracked, the VIX would have exploded. And then right there was the eclipse. Boop. And then you get your first positive DMI, straight up. How specific is that? How unbelievably specific is that? Look at that. It cannot go in positive land. It explodes up, touches the zero line, decelerates. Cannot go positive. Zero positive. Eclipse happens, now it reverses. And so this should be steady until the end of March. Should be. It's not going to be straight up, but it should be steady. Notice how today was way calmer than any other day, right? Basically traded nothing, 0.6% for most of the day, right? Yeah. Power of eclipse. Fucking retarded. Why does it happen? I don't know. I don't know how this shit works. I don't live in simulation land. I don't know how it works. So we have that. I think I'm done with the VIX, or am I? This is scary. Really big DMI on the weekly. That's usually not sustainable, but here we fucking are. What would be amazing is if this actually went down to the zero line. See, that would be a massive profitable trade. This goes down to the zero line into May. Starts curling up. This is going to absolutely fucking blow. This would be the continuation wave of that, of the August flash crash. So they'd be chop, 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 chop. Touches the zero line because it missed it here. And then boom, it would be absolutely explode. Or it does this fuckery like it did here. And we fuck around. The problem with why I'm saying that the breakout, do you see the VIX here? Okay, this is the COVID trend line. This is the bear market. Explode into it, explode into it, explode into it. That's the yellow line. Then you have the green line, which is the uptrend from the VIX again. Okay, it's a 7-year trend line. Up, 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 up. This is the banking crisis, breaks it. So now it's bouncing from underneath. Right? When you break that, it's on. Donkey Kong. Fucking on. Then you have the short-term uptrend from 2024. There is a VIX algo trigger here talking about dumb money, and people are taking riskier bets. And what would you know? That was the bottom of the VIX. It started curling up from that moment. It had this fucking freakish coil. VIX does not move like that because it was reversing its trend. And so I noticed that that is definitely a trigger. And this is what's going to happen. Right? So it was pretty easy. That breaks again. And so you have the epicenter of the universe, literally like right here, and it exploded through it. Boom. Gap down. Boom. Right. Exactly. So if that breaks, you're getting a massive VIX print, which doesn't make sense to me because that's not what I see with the wave. Things would get all sorts of fucked up. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so that's important. On the monthly, you can see this happening, right? You see that? This is moving in a way of bearishness. So it gets pushed down really fucking hard, and it's kind of like floating higher. This was the impulse. So it pushes up, and now it's kind of floating higher. Eventually, I think what it's going to do is go up into it, explode through it, and fail. So it's going to have a big pop, which is literally the crash. So you're exploding above the monthly zero line on a monthly basis. The power of the VIX, the power of the crash on a monthly basis is it explodes out and instantly fails. And I think that will be the May-June correction. So a massive whatever. So you get a gigantic whoosh, and then it comes right back down, and then you get the hard rejection going into Q4. It goes boom, 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 and then it comes down, and then boom. I can't even put on the chart. It's go like that, and then boom. Like that's what I see, and that's what I want to see. Something you should be aware of, like this. So it's happening, right? It's happening. It's curling up. It showed its face. This is why this is so frightening. And it's still not over, man. Yes, the eclipse happened. Yes, it looks very clean and whatnot. See how it pops up and curls and gets crushed? See how it pops up and curls? That's usually not, it's not usually not where it dies. So the Fed is everything here this week. Okay? That is everything. Another thing, so the SPY, I noticed the overbought print right there, 70.7, which was at the top. It got coiled out to the top side. And that hooked it, it pushed up really hard, and then it pushed it down as if it was going too high. So then I noticed that when it touched the overbought, that's probably peak momentum. Because if that stopped the uptrend from 2023, that's going to be like the retest of it and then failure. And that's exactly what happened. And then I thought about it. I go, probably hitting oversold will probably do the exact opposite. Boom, boom. Right? Fingers crossed. Exactly, fingers crossed. Because it's not so much the move. Like if the market drops another 10%, it's like whatever. It's not the end of the world. But if that happens, the trades get way weirder, and then timing things get worse. And the profitability of like a bigger trade is gets fucked, because the VIX barely moved on this, right? The VIX went to 29. It was in 20s most of the time, and it was chop city. You could have bought like at the money puts and barely made anything. Like, let's see, watch this. You bought 590 puts at the top, right? 321 put, 590. Right at the top. I made 1200%. Not terrible. You would have to buy right at the top. Right at the top. The open of 2020. And you have to sell right at the tippy tip. Which you probably wouldn't, because usually on the gaps like that, that's where it ends. Right there. Let's see that. It comes down, fills the gap, dies off. Whoa. Right? So you probably wouldn't have held it past that. So you would have made about 700%. Not terrible. 700% pretty good. But for like a big structural move, that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for like a 5,000%, 10,000% type of move. The option went up 15,000% in August of last year on UVXY. 15,000, actually went up like 18,000. Like a clean trade would have been 15,000. 15,000%. Yes, that's what you want. Then not like the 500%ers, because then it's also very choppy, and it's very kind of ugly and tough to play out. Next, I just want to talk about, people are talking about like the first 50 days and 100 days of the Trump thing. And the first 50 days ended right there on the 10th. And so the next 100 days would end on the end of April, the start of May. And so it's very possible that the first 50 days, there's a whole shitstorm. And the end of the 100 days, it's like, you know, paradise, right? Like all the negative shit hit the market all at once. And then if there's brighter skies and we get through it, then they're like, oh, the first 100 days, oh my God, he did amazing. And then that's where you're towards the top of the market, right? That's one thing to just be aware of. You had the third highest puts ever bought in the S&P ever in history, right there at the bottom. So that's a contrarian indicator. I don't take too much into that, but it's something. They say if you have a 10% drop historically from all-time highs as fast as it did within a month, 1 month later, the median return is 7.8%. So if you take that the middle of April, 7.8% is, we'll say 8% right there, the middle Bollinger, which is what I would be expecting, right? We go rally up to here, we sell off, we do whatever, and then maybe we recover the week after. Well, we have Good Friday on the option expiration, and the holidays are very inflective usually. So you have to see like where everything stands and stuff like that to make an idea. Like if you start seeing the market turning up going into that, then it's most likely going to kind of blast through it. So that would be the middle of April going into earnings season. And they say 3 months out, it's like 15%, which I don't think happens because the volatility, one way or another, it's going to happen. The only other way that I could see it staying volatile but not having a big crash is it doing some shit like this and crashing into May, June, into the top or something. Like you go to 640 and then you'd have like a very quick like 10% drop to like 580, which is the yearly open-ish, 590, something like that. And then we rally over the next 3 months through. I don't think that happens, but that's another wave that's possible. I just don't think that happens. And then, yeah, okay. So that's most cyber tech. And then we have to look at UVXY and then some stocks, and then that's it. UVXY, oh my God. Okay, guys, do you notice that there was a glitch trade in May of 2021? You guys notice that? Is that on your charts? I could fix that candle. I can just change it and make it not do that. and just put it back up here. But that was significant. It did that. And I noticed that at the time when it happened, but it didn't go down that far. It went down to like here. Or, oh no, wait, I think maybe it actually went down to here, which was this, which was the banking crisis move. I had a god line here, and I don't know if it was from a previous split. I'll explain that to you. But when you split, forward split and reverse split trend lines, I don't know if it's just on Thinkorswim, or whatever, but it's very commonly whichever way you split, it will move your trend lines in the direction of that. So like I put a trend line like it like went down to like here, and then when it split, it went down to there, and then it ended up being the exact bottom for the banking crisis, and then boom, right? So I've seen this many times before, and so this is the bottom or the top of the market, the bottom of the VIX, top of the market. And what would you know? You go like this. It was closing print 40, open print about 45. 40 to 45. We'll just do a box. Basically there, right? Down, 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 gets crushed out, and then it starts reacting with it. This was where you got the VIX algo trigger. It was like the last week of the year. Oh, there we go. 2023. This was the first initial reaction. This was when the Russell got fucking wrecked in December of 2023. It was the top. 2023, right there. Got fucking obliterated. Went down almost 3%, right? We're in this huge uptrend, and it gaps down, goes up from top to bottom, and went down 3% in this uptrend. And if you look at it, it was the peak momentum. Boom, straight down, just down, 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 down. You can see the same thing in SPY. That was peak momentum right there. And it goes down and to the right. So it was the tippy top. So it got triggered because UVXY hit that mark right there. Boom, hits it, and now it starts to reverse. And so now you're getting this wobble. And so this is why it was trading very weird the first 2 weeks of 2024 in the VIX. And then you got this move here. Did we talk about that? Maybe we talk about it. This is where the VIX got an outsized move. The market didn't actually move this far, but the VIX just exploded more than it should have. Because it was pricing in future moves. So there's that. So what you usually get when you get the VIX is you get the initial reaction, boom. Then you get the residual, which was this rally, okay? Which was this rally. And then we get the VIX triggers right here. And then boom, this is what we explained as the face of the big crash. Because it's activating off that trend. And the reason why he did that is because it's the first, it's showing you the peak of the rally as the market was topping out in 2021 in terms of momentum. Okay. This actually freaks me the fuck out too. We talk about that. So this is the face of the crash. And then what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? What is this? Right? You realize that the S&P, okay, so this is at 20.5, basically let's say 18, right? Basically the same fucking price, right? This is July 12th. July 12th. The S&P is 9% higher. 9% higher. Okay? The market didn't actually push up. Again, it's this rolling effect. How do I know that? Because when the market digs its feet in and actually moves up like a true bull market, UVXY gets fucking crushed. Crushed. Bull market, crushed. It's a very bullish move, very bullish move. Okay? How the fuck is UVXY the exact price with S&P up 9% higher? Right? And I'll show you again, make it easier. UVXY was at $30 here. Okay? Yesterday, it went from 30 to 23 and change at the bottom. How much higher are we? 2.5% higher, give or take. Look how far we are, right? So if the market's making a true look at that. If the market's making a true bullish move, look how hard that got fucking crushed. If the market goes up another 4% or so, this is getting obliterated. This is going to be retesting its lows. And the only way that that doesn't happen if the market's going to get wrecked here. That it's violently pushed. It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. It really shouldn't. We got the glitch. We got the eclipse. We got the algo triggers. It looks pretty clean. It would suck. It would suck because it'd just be more chop. We want to see it head out. So this is the thing. So where does UVXY go? Well, or where the target for everything is, we told you about the glitch trade that happened on the split. On the split, whenever it happened, April 12th, whenever the fight, it happened somewhere in here. And what would you know? It glitched down to 9.21. Maybe it's still up there. Can we see it? Should be able to see it actually. There it is. April 11th. See that? That is a target. Now, and this is why I want to see the market rally out. For this to drop 50%, the market has to explode. For this to drop 58% in the next roughly 2 months. Okay, did we do it here? We'll go about 58%. That's about 58% that happened. That's interesting. This happened on the exact crossover. This is the lunar eclipse, October 23, and it goes exactly into the December 18. What the fuck? Which was about 7 weeks, and it went up 55%. Huh. I mean, we already started actually, so this would have to go down 68%, but about 55% from it now. So that's the point. If we're going to have a massive rally going into May with some volatility, it's not going to be a straight line, with some volatility. If that happens, if this happens, goes into May, this is breaking this downtrend. This is the COVID downtrend. This is a COVID downtrend. This is where the glitch trade happened. This is the downtrend from the 2022. The VIX wanted to go higher in 2022, physically couldn't due to the trend. This is where UVXY breaks the short-term trend and goes up a gazillion percent on a VIX-ageddon. The VIX went up 180 fucking percent intraday before reversing. That is fucking retarded. Broke this. What do you think's gonna happen when that breaks? When the actual COVID wave breaks, because we just bounced off of it. So here, this is why the market can't go lower without getting fucking obliterated. You're breaking a massive VIX, massive UVXY trend lines. You cannot break this without having a big spike. You can't just go, boom. Like, it's not going to happen. It's going to fucking blow. And the setup is pretty scary because, like, you know, it goes like this, and now it's curling up. And if it starts going up to the zero line on the weekly, you're going to start getting some serious volatility. Okay? So if we get that, this is up to about 22, the trend line. It's going to go up to here, and it is going to explode. Where it goes, I have no fucking idea. I couldn't even tell you how high that would have went. You're just going to have a VIX-ageddon move. I don't know how high it's going to go. I have no idea. You're just going to get a massive fucking holy shit, what is going on? Wherever the fuck the price is, that's where you sell. That's it. Wherever the price is, that's where you sell. So that's a very clean setup. The setup that I see here, where the market doesn't hold in the next month or so, like we chop, Fed says whatever, and then April happens with the eclipse, and then this rolls over. Like, I don't see that. Like, it don't make no damn sense. You got the weekly middle Bollinger right there, 20.48. We're literally right there. So the market has almost no upside left. So that means that we're going to get stuffed on the Fed, right? And then you have stocks that are super bullish. So I got to go through those stocks next. This is also, so this is very important. This is very specific. The $9 trade on UVXY will get hit. If it breaks out first, It should eventually come back and touch $9, but I don't have that charted. There's no chart for that. I don't know the time frame of it. It wouldn't be clean. It doesn't make any sense. Simple as that. And the thing that's got me shook, the thing that has got me fucking shook is this. You go on any other, you go on TradingView, you go on other indexes and stuff like that. If it does not have this, and even if I fix this, the Bollingers probably would fix themselves. But I leave it there specifically because I think this is important. I think this is actually an algo-driven move. Never in history has UVXY separated the Bollinger Bands like this before. This is a very fucking significant thing, right? You get corrections, they expand and they collapse. They expand, they collapse. Expand, COVID, expand, collapse. And then you get the glitch trade, expand, collapse. But it is part of a major structure move. This is one of the things I started noticing. It is a structural move that is setting up. This is one big wave. This is not this. Oh my God. This is not we're just going to keep going down, down, down. This is one big motherfucking wave. Okay, and the fact that it's doing this is frightening. And then you go on the daily. Where's the daily? The daily is at 2,000, bro. The daily is at 2,000, bro. Again, so the daily again separated on the glitch trade. On the glitch trade. And the daily is at 2,000, bro. It's at 2,000. And that, I'm not joking. This is where I would see the VIX go. If the VIX does a VIX again and then we break the 1987 high, we have a 20% down day in one day, the VIX is going over 100. The VIX goes over 100. UVXY has never moved in a way. It will move in a way that has never moved before. Ever. Ever. I don't even know what it will look like. I have a small idea, but when it happens, I'll be like, right? Like, it's beyond frightening that this setup is the setup. And here we are curling up. This is not how the market bottoms. The market's bottom when you spike and then get crushed and then boom. COVID, right? Spike, spike, spike. You get crushed and then boom. Right? So like this is where I would expect us to boom and then get crushed and go. That's how it goes, and that's how it's nice. Not when the fucking market does this for 9 months, right? But again, we are really fucking close, and I can't count it out. So this also scares me on the monthly. It's never violently compressed like that before. Anytime it does it, it's just flat, 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 rounded, rounded, rounded. That usually means a trigger. Lo and behold, that was exactly right around the time of it bottoming here in the February, March, April area where it clicked from that 45-40 print. So it looks like it's clicking, right? So down, 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 down. Okay, something got hit. Now it's reacting. How long does it take to click? Exactly. So we see the patterns, but so now look, UXY. Oh, this is another thing. Okay, and then we're gonna actually go into the stocks now. I think we're done with most of the stuff. Just a couple of stocks. Like look at this, okay? Right? Just straight up. Even though it was very unhealthy and weird type of movement, which makes it more likely that it wasn't an actual breakout, but rather a stabilizer, right? And then the eclipse. And then look at that effect. Look at that. That, but you also notice how it does start breaking beforehand, and this makes it so weird how eclipses do this. What the fuck? Are we subconsciously tied to eclipses, to the cosmos, that humans don't know that we're affected by it for thousands of years? Are we just intertwined with it? Are we all part of the same sort of like universal dust of whatever that we haven't figured out in the quantum world, and we all kind of behave in the same way at the same time, and the eclipse is the trigger for it, or trigger something? I don't know. Or is like the eclipse like the timing of the universe or the solar system that is like a clock, like the hour turns the next hour, the minute turns the next minute, and it just clicks, and then everything behaves the way it should. Like we're all in the same sort of like wheel of fate, so to speak. Right? You understand that? Like, I don't know. I want to figure that out. But it's if we can time this big crash based off of that, then I will try to figure it out. I'll make it my life mission. Anyway, uh 2228. So here, UVXY started trading after hours right here. Right here, February 3rd. And what I've noticed is that when you trade after hours, it has a negative effect on the stock. It pushes it down. Why? I don't know. Why? I don't know. It pushes the stock down. But if you're pushing UVXY down and it physically can't go down, whatever reason, Elliott wave, like that's just the way like the waves work. You're trying to squeeze it down and it can't go down. Like this is why we had that high CPI print and it went boop, boop, right? Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then it just releases. And this is probably why it's trading so weird, is that it's not actually pushing up. Not actually, the market's not actually selling off. It's actually trying to go higher and then gets squoze out. And this is how it trades. So now UVXY trades after hours and it's doing this. But ever since then, from that moment, you can see down, 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 starts trading right there and now up. So either this is it, this is the big crash, and it's going to keep trying to push down and it's just going to keep going higher. That's one functional wave. Or this is what I explained before in the pattern that I see. And that's why I was so fucking scared, because it just didn't stop. Nothing was stopping it since last July. So very scary. And now we have UVXY at the daily middle Bollinger. These are daily middle Bollinger on UVXY is the inflection. 3 days above it means a correction. Here, boom, 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 retested it, exploded off of it. That means a correction's coming. Gaps, fails. Couple extra days. So it's kind of scary. 1, 2, 3, 4, back below. 1, 2, 3. So that's how it goes. So that's something to be very cognizant of. And so I think what a function of how the market will top is that UVXY gets crushed to the downside, or you think of it, the market's parabolically ripping to the upside, and the way you top is exhaustion. And that's how all major markets top, and that's how you would expect to see the size and caliber of this crash to top. Absolute insanity. So it's like UVXY is getting coiled to the downside, compressed due to this algo. Make it way more visible. GameStop started trading after hours. Not the first time, the second time, right there. Right there. So you have this uptrend. Right there it started trading, and then look how it trades. Straight down and to the right. It couldn't go up at all. Could not go up. Right there. Down and to the right, down to the right, down to the right, down to the right. The effect of trading after hours. I don't know why it did that, why it does that, but this is what it did. So either just happens to be the timing of it. Also, this is another thing. The fact that they're doing 24-hour trading shows you that there's going to be fanaticism in the market. People are going to be nuts trading all the time, 24/7, gambling this, gambling that. Robinhood's now doing the world events you could trade on. Like, we're turning into a fucking psychopath gambling society, right? Like, that's where we're at. That's what we're doing right now. So that's happened there. And then, I mentioned this, it happened one time right here. Look, so you're not trading after hours right here. 8 p.m., 7 p.m., and now 8 p.m., 9, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, right? Started trading right there. And what ended up happening was you had a pre-market move down to here, 23.5. So I was like, okay, that's sketch. And then this happens. And then there's this I call it the air pocket. So if this was an uptrend, and then there was the air pocket here to turn it down. See how it pushes it down violently? And the down momentum of that push down was 25. Was there. And then look at that. This was the earnings report. This was also the Roaring Kitty tweet, and the earnings report goes down to the exact same price, right? So something is going on at this price. And then you zoom out. This is where it crashes into it, boom, boom, boom. And then you get a gap down, and they started getting these gaps up and gaps down. So you get a gap down into it, and then you get this explosion. I think it activated off of this. This is the face of the rally coming, the face of the strength of GameStop when they're talking about joining Bitcoin. Oh, yeah, I didn't talk about Bitcoin. Anyway, so there was like an air pocket of momentum right there. And then this is where the CPI ticked up. And there's an algo-driven thing that talks about how if inflation starts going up, people take bigger bets in meme stocks and degenerate stocks because they're trying to make up for their losses in their life. One of the reasons that they'll take more riskier bets to try to make up for the money lost. And if you look at this CPI back in 2020 and 2021, right at the start of the big ramp up from 3% to 9%, that's where the GameStop exploded. And then it's traded very volatile since then. But right at the bottom, that's where it exploded. And so if our CPI is going higher or staying higher, then this very well could have been a trigger for it. It was one of these days. I forgot which day, but it crashed down into it. It was one of these days. Crashed down into it and then explodes off of it. So it's like if the inflation's going up, the memes are going to activate, and that's what it's showing you. And then that looks like a bottom. And you have all these glitch trades, in my opinion, I'll go with the GameStop. See all these glitch trades? It's coiling the momentum. So it doesn't want to go down, but it physically has to. And all these glitch trades maintain the momentum. See the DMIs? Pop, 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 pop. How do you maintain a Godzilla momentum while it goes lower? And that's how. They can't just go down. Can't just have a gazillion momentum and then go down. So it needs to do this. We got a neutral print on that. That looks like a MACD cross is coming, going into the Fed meeting. Right? It hit oversold on the daily and reversed. It had an actual oversold print here and reversed. The one thing that I saw is that the DMIs were about to touch, and then you might want to see them cross, which you need a blow-off move, but now I don't think it happens. I was expecting it. We were looking for some sort of blow-off. Didn't happen. Yeah. And so you want to see it explode. So if we go up in the next 2 weeks, going into the eclipse, now they're releasing earnings next week. So if this goes up, wherever it goes, it pops. I don't know if it's going to break the 29.82 guideline and 26.4 guideline. There's the 200 weekly that we're looking for that to break. If he does the path that I want to see, it would do something like this: pull back in April, explode after the option expiration of April into May, something like that. Up, down, up, whatever. We covered so much Oxy and everything. So here's guidelines: 40.31 and 47.73. So 40 and 48, massive guidelines. Here guidelines 26.4, 28.92. We just crashed into the 50 weekly. The 20 crossed the 200, which is very inflective. Very inflective. What I want to see I think we broke the 200 here. When we were trading here, over here, this was the big spike. I think we broke the 200. So it breaks it and then settles into support. And now when it comes up, you really want to see it explode. Explode through it. So maybe, I don't know, it goes up to here. Earnings comes out. It gaps above it. We get a correction in April. The volatility, it retests the gap. And explodes into May. Something like that. I can't tell the exact path, but that's the best path that I would want to see if we're going to have the big blow off in May and then the violent correction. And then if you get the big violent move and then you get the big violent correction and you crash into all of this, maybe even lower, but that's what you'd want to see. It crashes into here. Everyone's like, fuck this shit. They think that it's this all over again. And then in fact, it's not. It's actually starting a multi-month. Oh my God. There's a lot of lines of uselessness. That's an inflection. So it'll start a lot of months of up and to the right going into Q4. Look at the 50 monthly. Little divot. So it spikes up. You get the divot. You get the first divot. That's probably inflective. That's inflective. This is important on the monthly on GameStop. See this? See this? We almost touched it, but didn't. Who knows? Maybe we might touch it on earnings and it gaps down into it. Who knows? When you spike up, so this exploded up to 80, and this was like really high. Spikes up, coils down, and then you push up. It pushed up, but glitch trade lower as I showed you earlier and had that air pocket. So it pre-priced it, right? So it priced in the future movement, and then it coils down. And when it does that, and it has this type of setup, most of the time, if not all of the times, I would say all the times, but it's the rule. There are exceptions, but that's the rule. Where it coils down into it when you explode up and this goes up, is that when this touches the zero line, it clicks rather than failing. Right? It's very hard to go up like this and kind of go straight down in momentum and break down through it. It's very indicative of it stabilizes up and then coils down the momentum. So when it touches the zero line, it rips out. It clicks and it rips out. Sort of like that click that we had the other week where it spiked to 31 pre-market or whatever. And that's how that works. So that's what you're looking for. But I don't know exactly the path. Could it spike up? So you get a spike up activation, but then it kind of fills the gap. And then April it starts to go. And then May it rips. Yeah. Like, I don't know the exact path. And that's the difficult part. So I don't know if you have shares or options and stuff like that. But this is very important. Stocks like this is very important to the market itself because it shows you the bigger wave in the market. These are not going to go unless the market's ripping, or the Russell's ripping. So that looks really clean on the Russell. So you can see how the top of here, chops and breaks through. I think it's going to bounce off that, but you're going to get chop. Right? So if you bounce off this, and then you have a really hard drop, but then it recovers like in May, and you do something like that, it got crushed straight down, and this sets up where it coils out, explodes up, coils out. This looks like it wants to do something like that. So it activates, you get the residual of the down, and then it rips, and the residual is the big crash. Like, that's what I see. We still have a glitch trade lower. I don't know if we're going to get there. It's only 7% lower. See, this doesn't make sense. See guys, the 190 glitch trade at a god line at 189.31 from here doesn't make any sense. You hit the god line here, you get massive support on the futures. How are we going to drop another 7% and then UVXY is only going to go up a little? Somebody's lying. Somebody's lying. We're in the middle of this fuck fest. I can't figure it out exactly until more shit happens. But you know now targets, and you know stuff like basically the furthest the Qs can go down. You get the middle Bollinger 7%, but I think that it's going to get down to here. But it should only get down to here if it rallies first. If it drops even further, you're probably only going to get to there. Right? Like, it's all predicated upon if we can rally through all-time highs or get this pump fast into earnings season. So again, This is coiling out. AMC, same exact thing. It started trading after hours and got fucked. I didn't even know when. Here maybe. But what is it doing? Yeah, so it's trading after hours. It's getting these weird glitches. Look at AMC's RSI. So you see oversold, comes out, stabilizes up at 50, retests oversold, bounces here. So look how clean that looks. You get a full wave, comes up, retests oversold, bounce, bounce, whoosh, whoosh. It filled the gap from there, and it's starting to go up. And so this would set up, fills the gap, and this would set up with the Fed, whatever the fuck they say, or however this wave sets up, where this clicks and starts to go up. Monthly, you get a down print here, and it's been trading down the whole time, and then you get an open print here. This could unlock it to go up based on the way this is. Down, 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 it comes up, pushes down, and you just get downward momentum the entire time, even though you got this spike. This doing that, now you could start getting positive prints, and now you could actually get the opposite effect, which would be up, 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 up. It's not going to be straight up. It'll be relatively straight up. But yeah, so that's something that you see there on the monthly, on the weekly, on the, and you see on the daily. The daily looks really good. I didn't think we'd overextend this much. This was bullish, where it stabilizes up above the zero line on the meme move, and it comes straight down. This is the start of the year. You get a neutral candle right there. Shoulder, head, shoulder. People don't see MACDs as inverse head and shoulders or head and shoulders in general. But that's what it's definitely possible. Like that's definitely like a wave setup, rather than you'd be like, that's not an inverse, that's not a head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders. Yeah, the price doesn't do it, but the MACD does, and there's actual value in it. And so it's doing it because it explodes up, stabilizes up, and then one humongous wave down to push down on the momentum. So when it clicks and it releases, whoosh, you get the release. And look at the setup. You come up, shoulder, it goes to the zero line right at the start of the year, neutral print, hard rejected. So you're pushing down for the lower wick. Goes down, comes up, does this wicked coil, and now see how this is, coils up, gets rejected down, comes up, stabilizes out, pushes down. Now it looks like it's ready to go up. Doesn't that look really clean? Yes. Why does it look really clean? Because it looks really fucking clean. And now you have oversold, retests, and see how violent it's coming out. So there's just a lot of these setups that are like, how the fuck is the market going to go down? How's the market not going to rip out right here, right? And BlackBerry is the exact same setup. Massive pop, boom, 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 and then look where it's looking. And also, so it has this glitch trade down here, actual trades, which is very unhealthy. You have something that's very unhealthy. A move like that usually gets retested, right? But look at that setup. That looks, you get a neutral red right at a previous kick on a pre-market low, and it hits it. This looks like a wave 4, and a wave 5 is coming. And this is touching the zero line, so this is like one full wave cycle. I don't know where it goes, but it would just be memified, basically. That looks really clean on the daily. The weekly, right there, if it starts to activate off of the divergence, again, really clean. April 2nd is earnings. So at the start, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if the meme move goes past the last week of March. Yeah, we'll see. This, I think, is going to start going up to the zero line. But you're so far down, if you explode here, any downward momentum on a corrective phase you get a really long wick. Just because it's tough to hold up momentum when you're down that far. Kind of like this. Explode up, and even though it went down barely, look how far it did, right? So it's kind of the same thing. But this is the back end of this, so you shouldn't really get that. Again, I can't tell. Can't tell for sure until I start seeing more movement. So there's that. Also, people forgot about Nokia. Nokia was the 4th one that moved with the memes. Anyone remember this? 2.8 billion shares traded. And the stock went nowhere that week. Holy fuck. There's fucking 3 billion shares. What the fuck? How did it go nowhere? He's so fucking pissed. Yep, that's what it is. And then look at this. Look at this. So we'll do it from the top to bottom. Yearly. Activates here. Touches the zero line. Activates. Boom. Comes down. Retests. Now it's curling up. Right? You got a yearly middle Bollinger of 8.81. Previous high of about 10 bucks. So it's very possible that it breaks that 10 bucks and pulls back and sits around the 8.81 on the coming move. I kind of like Nokia just simply because it moves with the memes, and also structurally, I have to do some due diligence on it to see if it actually has forward power going forward, because usually when it like moves with memes but actually has increasing earnings, oh my god, then that's pretty good. You want to hold instead of like holding a meme that literally goes up 1,000,000,000% and does nothing. So you have the negative DMI the whole way, positive DMI on the trigger. Also, you get a neutral print on the quarterly. It was very obvious. We saw that. It explodes, comes back, retests negative with a non-trending move, crosses it, and rejects it. That looks really, really clean, right? That looks like that wants up pretty fucking cleanly, right? So that's on the quarterly and the yearly. Monthly, that looks like it's headed to the zero line. That looks like parabolic right there. It even gaps up, retest. This looks like it's a runaway train. Yep. It looks almost like BlackBerry. Down, 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 explodes up, comes down, curls out. This just looks cleaner. But BlackBerry's probably going to move more. So, right, that is very bullish. When you get a hook like that, you get a gap up. That's exactly the type of move I explained in October 2023 on SPY. You get the hook, you get the gap up lower wick, especially on a glitch trade. That's very bullish. So yeah, this is one impulse away from just exploding. Earnings April 24th, so that's the end of April. This looks like it's hits overbought, rejected, overbought, rejected, overbought, holds. So that looks like that's going to coil out. So like this looks imminent, right? You understand? That looks imminent. So is this going to explode and the memes won't go? Maybe, but and then the daily, I mean, that looks insane. That looks pretty insane. I don't even have to look at like the moving averages and stuff. But yeah, I just want to mention that we talked about GameStop, we talked about the glitch trades and the after hours trading crushing UVXY and the memes. We talked about I think everything. Bert Financial. This stock goes up a lot when the VIX spikes a lot. Okay. So its profit is based on the trading activity in the market. So this was VIX-ageddon in 2018. It went up 50% in that day. Okay. Boom. Right? Market got obliterated. It just went up. It went up 100% in 2 months. Okay. Now, follow this. Okay. Boom. It's down. This was COVID, right? Why did that do that and that do that? Right? COVID was way more destructive. Aha. I think this is what triggered the positive momentum in the stock itself. That it became algorithmically bullish rather than, and this is just the trigger for it. This is like the starter energy. Boom, comes down. You're just doing wave cycles here. Pop, pop, pop. You see the parabolic move here, and then straight down. Same thing like we saw with the VIX. Same thing we saw, straight down and comes up, right? Straight down, come right, exactly. So it's all setting up. Now you go on the weekly. Look at this. Straight down. This is either short. This is usually very short-term bullish, where you get a red print and then it explodes up. And then it's usually peak momentum and did exactly that. But it's also scary because the DMIs are crossing now. So if it's going to make a continuation wave, it would happen right now. Dun dun dun. Again, why I was scared shitless, because this is at all-time highs. Went here, Vixageddon, came back, pushed all the way down and held, and now it's basing at the top. So it's ready to, so to speak, make its next move higher. I mean, it can just stay here until the crash happens in a couple months, even if we rally, right? Yeah, exactly. Look at this quarterly. Look at this quarterly. Negative. It's so negative. So you get the huge move. Now it's building the momentum. Pop, 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 pop. Now it's positive. And then you push down, touches the zero line. Look at that. Straight up like a fucking cannon. Look at this momentum. Just look at this. Even if it does this, goes up, and then comes down in Q3, this thing is going to absolutely fucking... It's going to absolutely just take the fuck off. Again, this is another setup for Q4. The DMIs look good. They look healthy. It's not even overbought yet, right? And then you look at the yearly. Look at this. Negative, build, 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 push down, explodes through the zero line. And now you are a positive wave with positive momentum. So any click and you're releasing Vixageddon and COVID together. Boom, boom. So boom, boom, boom. Oil, boom, release. And end all be all. I have no idea where this would go, but it's just the setup that is there that is extremely frightening, that it's very imminent. This is why I'm scared, because the setup is there. It's not what should happen though, based on sentiment, positioning, glitch trades, this and this, the eclipses, a lot of things that show that it shouldn't happen and that there's a path that it should take. But it's not guaranteed because we're in the middle of a fuck zone, and the middle parts are so difficult for me. They're just so difficult. You can be like, oh, what do you mean? We just dropped 10%, no big deal. We just dropped 10%, no big deal. Oh, we dropped to the 50 weekly, who cares? What do you mean? What do you mean? It's just a normal correction. No, it's not a normal correction. This is why when I see big black swans and big fucking moves, it's extremely scary. And so basically, you want to be prepared for the worst, just to have something. But you have the general path of what we're going to be doing for this year and all the different stocks and stuff that look to be going. And so you're looking for like the big explosion here in the next 2 months, the big correction, and then everything holds and goes nuts, COVID style. I think to get a move like this, you need a move like that. We see how it's just rounded and rounded and rounded and rounded. We're not getting oomph. And to get the oomph, we need the volatility event. This wasn't it. So it would make sense if we go up like this, and then again, the oil stocks, the way they look, if they're topping, if we're topping, that should happen. So some sort of war should happen. And that usually triggers like a 20 to 30% type of drop. If that's triggering that, I don't see, and we're topping this year, I don't see us doing this and dropping 25% down to 450. We go to 450, we're not going from fucking 450 to 700 this year. We're not going to 700. Like, that's not happening. That's not a thing, bruh. That's not a thing. So it makes way more sense that we go up to 610, 640, wherever we go, and then we drop to the targets here. That's a nice 20% drop, right? Right. What was I gonna say? You've said enough. Shut the fuck up. No, it was important. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, stocks like this. Yeah, so like again, the thing that would trigger the market to go high or go lower would be like a military event, geopolitical in the Middle East, to get the oil stocks to rip. And again, that's something that would have to happen if we're going to top. If we're going to have a massive top, you need to see this rip as well. Like this is not going to go down like this, and we're going to chop, 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 and then we're going to have this big crash or something like that. If we have just some normal 20% drop in the market, We just have some normal whatever drop. Oh my lord. There we go. If we just have normal drop, people are saying that we'll touch like mid 400s. That would be like a 25% drop. If that happens, I don't see the big crash this year. And that would be very upsetting. I can't see it happening any other time. I really can't. 25%. What would cause the big crash? I have no fucking idea. Cyber attack. People keep talking about cyber attacks. They're fucking releasing all the Netflix shows and videos about it. All these cyber attacks constantly make glitch trades that fuck the market up. So who knows? Who knows? 25%. We retest that. We hit some nice targets. There's a gap on the SPY futures at 460. So that would be a nice. So yeah, we'll see. This video is probably 9 hours long. I'm sure there's other stuff I want to talk about, but I mean, that's the gist of it. But you see kind of things I see. And beware UVXY. Above this line is, I don't know, but it ain't good. That's all I know. Above this line ain't fucking good. And this is a god line. The middle Bollinger. That's kind of scary. It's crashing into that. It's usually won't go through it. That would suck if it just oscillates here. It's just so annoying. All right, guys. GG's. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you see something that I see and that you could play along. Don't get too greedy until after it clears out in April, if that's how we're going to play it. And then going into May, that's where you need to get really, if it happens, you get really fucking nervous. You do something like up, and we get rejected in April. Oh, wait. Or get rejected in April, go into it, and then you get hard rejected. And then it goes down to the 0 line. Or close to it. Oh. It would be like shoulder, head, shoulder. You see how the market can drop 8% and it looks like that? Barely anything. Right, same thing. So if you have an upward bias and you drop really hard, you could drop like a lot of percent without this actually getting fucked. So that would make sense. NVIDIA. I actually think NVIDIA... Okay, so this is important with the forward split. There was a glitch trade up to NVIDIA at 195.95 on the reverse split trade or date, whatever day that was. And you can see it was peak momentum. Look at that. Whee! Straight down. Look at the weekly. Whee! Straight down. So it's representative. Oh yeah, Bitcoin. Is representative of peak momentum, but it should eventually get there. That's the thing. It should eventually get there. So I don't know if this is shoulder, head. Even the head has a head and shoulders. And then you get a right shoulder. And then it goes down to the 0 line, and then it rips the second half of the year. I don't know, but this is a god line right here. So what ends up happening is when you split and forward split, reverse split, previous trend lines get extrapolated into the thing. So this was 152, so it was 15.2. So it was like, this was like a god line. It bounced all around this. And so that line ends up there. I don't know why it does it. I don't know if any other platform does it, but that's what it does. And it just so happened to be the exact top as what I suspected. You can see exactly how it behaves around that line. The first time touching it, and it got fucking dunked 152 to 140 in like a straight line. And then it goes down, and then it retests it, and then gets dunked again, right? So now I think it got rejected twice. It broke the uptrend quietly. We tweeted that. Got rejected twice. And I think now it's going to head through it. And that would make sense if we're going to have a peaking top. I don't know if 195 will be the top now. That's a target. That would be a lot of euphoria going into this drop. Yeah, so that's that. That's just something that I see. And yeah, I think Nvidia is going to get obliterated on the big crash. Gonna head below 50, well below 50, wherever it heads. Unless it goes to like 500, then yeah, we'll have to change the targets. And then lastly, real quick, as fast as we can, Bitcoin. This is an uptrend. There's 60,000 God line, massive God line here. We have an uptrend here. You know, it doesn't look like it, but it sinks into it and it behaves as a trend line. And then it bounced off of it and then breaks it. And now you're seeing the MACD cross happening here. How it looks like it wants to go up here. Weekly, broke it, not healthy. You had the futures gap that it just filled last week. So you had that. I had 74,000 as well as the top as another line. Didn't hit it, barely missed it. And then 60,000 glitch trade. When this gapped up, there was a glitch trade down to 60,000. And that gapped up. There was a glitch down to 60,000. So again, if we're going to rally into the end of March and sell off in April due to whatever, tax season and all that shit that people talk about, the tariffs, blah, 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 then we would chop, 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 go down to 60K. I don't see that wave. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me in the short term or the bigger trend. Can it happen? Fucking sure. But every other glitch trade and everything else makes it look like we're going to rally into April, volatility in the first half of April, and then load into May, and then have like a 20% drop in like a week or two. A massive fucking VIX event where that VIX, all those VIX lines break. And when they break, the Fed will start cutting and it will stifle the crash that should have been. You stifle a crash that size for what should have been, you create an environment where the market explodes higher and has one of the worst flash crashes ever. That's what I see. So what I don't see now, or less likely, is for there to be just a big, big crash now. After this happened and got wrung out, not guaranteed, no, but it's a lot less likely, I think. So we'll just leave it at that. Bitcoin, you'd see at least 120,000. Anything over 120,000, then you'd want to see the crash. You have an over 50% drop into the 60K, and then 60K turns into 150 to 200 going into Q4. That's what I see. And then I see it actually dropping below 20K in the crash. Good luck with that. Going from 200 to 20K in like a month or two. That's going to hurt a lot of people. Yeah, everything looks like whatever. 4 hour. This is where they did the okay, yeah, sure. This is where they did that reserve. So we'll see. We'll see if that's the trigger for it. Michael Saylor says that Bitcoin should be above 100,000 or at 100,000 by May. So yeah, the second that makes a lot of sense. So if like it goes up to here, this was a glitch trade in Bitcoin there, and it fucked with it the whole time, broke down, retested. So if it gets above it, anywhere 95K or so in the next 2 weeks, early April, then you'd want to see the volatility kick in, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then this mid to second half of April, it holds, breaks it. Okay, we're done. GG's. There you go. There's a year's worth of randomly saying stuff. I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff to say and look at, but those are a lot of the main points of just the things you want to be looking for. And when it does something, you'll have an idea of where it can or cannot go, or what you should be scared for or looking forward to. What should happen is we should have a massive euphoric rally before this big crash. You have to get all the shorts out. Just the way it works. So, even though I'm still scared for it, I'll still be hedged out like 9 months just in case. But big euphoric rally and then the big crash. So don't get too comfortable either way, right? If it gets, you're making a shit ton of money in the upside, you need to understand, because this is how you actually make money. If you psychologically say, I'm never going to short it, or I'm going to go all in, or I'm going to do this and that, you'll get fucked, because when it's time to turn, you won't go big or you won't go at all, because you're just like, oh, it's not going to go down. So you psychologically need to set up for all the waves that are coming, just so you know, just so you can prepare and actually make the trades that you need to make when you need to make them, because it really is psychological before you make the trades. So hopefully something helped, or you saw something you didn't see before. All right, guys, hope everybody's doing well. I don't know when I'll make another video again. Getting late. And I'll see you guys on Twitter, and good luck trading this year. All right, it's gonna be fun, I think. All right, guys, peace.